Harley-Davidson is known for thunder, chrome, and price tags that scare most riders away. But hidden in their history are 15 cheap Harleys that slipped through the cracks. Bikes that few people bought, yet deliver more value and fun than anyone expects. These are the underdogs of the Harley world. Affordable, reliable, and built with real hearts, starting with Harley-Davidson Street 500. Harley-Davidson built the Street 500 with a specific mission in mind, attracting new riders who found traditional Harleys too intimidating or expensive. The strategy made perfect sense on paper, but American buyers never embraced it the way the company hoped. This lightweight motorcycle packs a liquid-cooled 494 cubic centimeter engine, which is practically unheard of in Harley's air-cooled Legacy lineup. The engine runs cooler and smoother than traditional Harley power plants, making it far more pleasant for city riding and stop-and-go traffic. That liquid cooling system means you're not sitting on what feels like a mobile radiator during summer rides, which anyone who's ridden an air-cooled Harley in July traffic can appreciate. The handling characteristics are surprisingly nimble for a Harley product. This bike maneuvers through tight spaces and heavy traffic with ease that larger Harleys simply cannot match. The lightweight frame and lower seat height make it accessible for riders of all sizes, particularly those who find full-size cruisers physically demanding. The Street 500 is so easy to handle in traffic, some riders claim their morning commute actually became enjoyable instead of just tolerable. The engine produces adequate power for city riding and short highway jaunts, though it's not designed for cross-country touring or aggressive acceleration. The power delivery is smooth and predictable, making it ideal for learning proper throttle control and clutch work. Here's where the Street 500 becomes genuinely interesting as a purchase option. The used market is flooded with low-mileage examples at bargain prices because American riders dismissed it as not feeling like a real Harley. That perceived weakness is exactly what makes it such a smart buy today. You can find clean examples with under 5,000 miles for prices that seem almost ridiculous compared to other Harley models. Many of these bikes were purchased by new riders who quickly moved up to bigger models, meaning they were never abused or neglected. The maintenance costs are lower than traditional Harleys because the liquid-cooled engine doesn't require the same careful attention to air-cooled temperature management. Harley dealers apparently stock more Street 500s in the back than they do in the showroom, which tells you everything about their popularity, but nothing about their quality. The fuel economy is excellent compared to larger Harleys, often achieving well over 60 miles per gallon in mixed riding. That efficiency makes it practical for daily commuting without constantly stopping for gas. The riding position is comfortable and neutral, not forcing you into an uncomfortable reach or awkward posture. The brakes are adequate with decent feel and stopping power for the bike's weight and performance level. The suspension handles typical road conditions competently without feeling harsh or underdamped. Insurance costs are typically lower than bigger Harleys, and registration fees in many states are reduced due to the smaller displacement. These practical considerations add up to significant savings over time. The Street 500 represents everything Harley-Davidson could be if they prioritized functionality over image, which is precisely why traditional Harley buyers ignored it. For practical riders who want Milwaukee heritage without Milwaukee weight, cost, and maintenance requirements, this bike delivers exactly what's needed. The fact that nobody wanted it when new means you can buy one now for a fraction of its original price, while still getting a reliable motorcycle backed by Harley's dealer network. Now let's look at the Street 500's bigger sibling that shares its underdog status. Harley-Davidson Street 750. The Street 750 takes everything good about the Street 500 and adds more displacement for riders who want additional power without jumping to full-size Harley cruisers. This bike features the same liquid-cooled engine architecture scaled up to 749 cubic centimeters, providing noticeably more torque and better highway capability. The additional displacement makes a real difference in real-world riding, allowing confident passing on two-lane roads and comfortable cruising at interstate speeds. The engine remains remarkably smooth and quiet by Harley standards, which traditional enthusiasts criticized, but new riders appreciate immensely. That smoothness comes from the liquid cooling system and modern engine design that prioritizes refinement over raw character. The Street 750 doesn't shake your fillings loose at idle or vibrate your hands numb after an hour of riding. It simply runs smoothly and efficiently while delivering adequate power for most riding situations. The transmission shifts cleanly without the clunky engagement that plagues some Harley gearboxes. Clutch pull is light enough for stop-and-go traffic without causing hand fatigue. The riding position remains comfortable and accessible with a seat height that accommodates shorter riders easily. The used market pricing on Street 750 models is shockingly low, considering these are relatively recent motorcycles with modern features. Clean examples regularly sell for under $5,000, sometimes even less if the seller's motivated or the bike has higher mileage. That pricing puts Harley-Davidson ownership within reach of riders who couldn't afford traditional models. You're getting a motorcycle with Harley's dealer network support, parts availability, and brand recognition at prices comparable to budget Asian cruisers. The depreciation hit these bikes took benefits used buyers enormously, while representing a loss for original owners who paid full retail. The Street 750 depreciates faster than milk in a hot car, which is terrible for sellers, but fantastic for smart buyers. Maintenance requirements are straightforward, with the liquid-cooled engine eliminating many of the temperature-related concerns that affect air-cooled Harleys. Oil changes are simple, valve adjustments are infrequent, and the overall mechanical simplicity means fewer things can go wrong. The fuel economy remains excellent for a motorcycle of this size, often exceeding 50 miles per gallon in mixed riding conditions. That efficiency makes it practical for daily commuting without the fuel costs associated with larger displacement cruisers. The handling is competent with predictable steering and adequate suspension for typical riding conditions. It's not a sport bike, obviously, but it handles city streets and twisty back roads better than most cruisers. The brakes provide decent stopping power with reasonable feel at the lever. The riding experience is comfortable and stress-free, exactly what new riders need while learning proper motorcycle control. Storage options are limited, but aftermarket accessories are readily available for riders who need to carry cargo. The instrument cluster is simple and clear, providing necessary information without overwhelming complexity. Build quality is solid, with good paint and reasonable fit and finish for the price point. These bikes hold up well mechanically with proper maintenance, and the Harley dealer network means service and parts are accessible nationwide. The Street 750 represents practical motorcycling wrapped in Harley-Davidson branding, which is why enthusiasts rejected it, but also why it makes such sense as a used purchase. You're buying reliable transportation with enough Harley DNA to satisfy brand loyalty at prices that make financial sense even for budget-conscious riders. Let's move on to a Sportster variant that got overlooked for all the wrong reasons. Harley-Davidson SuperLow. Harley designed the SuperLow specifically for riders who wanted Sportster performance, but needed easier reach and better balance at stops. This bike features the classic 883 cubic centimeter Evolution engine that's powered countless Harleys over decades. That air-cooled V-twin is about as simple and reliable as engines get, with proven durability and straightforward maintenance requirements. The Evolution engine doesn't produce massive power, but it delivers adequate torque for cruising and enough character to feel like a proper Harley. The sound is unmistakably Harley-Davidson, with that distinctive V-twin rumble that never gets old. The key feature differentiating the SuperLow from other Sportsters is the reduced seat height and forward-positioned controls. The seat sits lower than standard Sportsters, allowing shorter riders to plant both feet firmly at stops. That confidence at stoplights and in parking lots cannot be overstated for riders who struggle with taller bikes. The suspension is calibrated to maintain the lower ride height while still providing reasonable comfort and handling. The forward controls position your feet ahead of you in classic cruiser style, though some riders find this less comfortable for aggressive cornering. The SuperLow got systematically ignored in the marketplace because everyone wanted the more aggressive iron models or the higher performance 1200 variants. That market rejection created today's bargain pricing, where clean SuperLow examples sell for significantly less than equivalent Iron 883 models despite being mechanically similar. You're getting the same reliable engine and transmission in a package optimized for easier riding at a lower price point. The logic makes no sense from a value perspective, but market perception drives pricing more than actual capability. The handling is surprisingly good for a low-slung cruiser. The SuperLow navigates corners competently and feels stable at highway speeds. The steering is light enough for easy maneuvering in parking lots, but weighted enough to feel secure at speed. The brakes are adequate, with single-disc front and rear providing reasonable stopping power. The suspension soaks up typical road imperfections without feeling harsh, though it's not designed for aggressive riding or heavily loaded touring. The fuel tank holds enough gas for decent range between fill-ups, typically allowing over 100 miles before needing fuel. Maintenance on the Evolution engine is straightforward with simple air-cooled architecture that mechanics have understood for decades. Oil changes are easy, valve adjustments are infrequent, and parts are readily available through Harley dealers and aftermarket suppliers. The mechanical simplicity means fewer potential failure points and lower repair costs when something does need attention. Insurance and registration costs are typically lower than bigger Harleys due to the smaller displacement and lower performance. These practical considerations add up to significant savings over time. The SuperLow represents practical Harley-Davidson ownership for riders who prioritize easy handling over maximum performance. The lower seat height and accessible ergonomics make it ideal for newer riders, shorter riders, or anyone who values confidence that stops over aggressive styling. The fact that the market ignored it in favor of flashier models means you can buy one used at prices that make financial sense even for budget-conscious riders. This is a motorcycle that does exactly what it's designed to do without pretension or unnecessary complication, making it far more practical than its market perception suggests. Time to discuss one of Harley's most popular entry-level models that's now flooding the used market. Harley-Davidson Iron 883 early models. The Iron 883 served as the entry ticket into Harley's Cool Club for years, attracting new riders with its blacked-out styling and accessible price point. Early models from 2020 and older are now flooding the used market as those riders upgrade to bigger bikes or move on to different brands. This creates excellent buying opportunities for smart shoppers who understand that these bikes remain mechanically sound even as prices drop. The 883 cubic centimeter Evolution engine is the same proven power plant used across Harley's Sportster lineup, delivering reliable performance with straightforward maintenance requirements. The blacked-out styling that made the Iron 883 popular when new still looks good today. The dark finishes on the engine, wheels, and body components create an aggressive appearance that appeals to riders wanting that rebellious Harley image. The mid-mount controls position your feet directly below you in a neutral riding position that's more comfortable for varied riding styles than forward controls. The peanut fuel tank is small, limiting range between fill-ups, but it contributes to the bike's stripped-down minimalist aesthetic. The seat is solo style and firm, prioritizing looks over long-distance comfort. Many Iron 883 owners upgraded to bigger bikes so fast, their first bike still had that new motorcycle smell mixed with buyer's remorse. The simple mechanics make this an excellent platform for customization and modification. The aftermarket parts industry offers countless options for personalizing Iron 883 models, from exhaust systems to seats to handlebars. Many used examples already have modifications installed, meaning you're getting upgraded parts at used bike prices. The mechanical simplicity also means maintenance, and repairs are straightforward enough for home mechanics with basic tools and skills. Used prices on 2020 and older Iron 883 models regularly fall below $7,000, sometimes significantly less depending on mileage and condition. That pricing represents substantial depreciation from original retail, benefiting used buyers enormously. You're getting a relatively recent Harley-Davidson motorcycle with modern features at prices comparable to much older bikes. The depreciation hit these bikes took is illogical from a mechanical standpoint since the Evolution engine and basic architecture remain fundamentally sound. Market perception drives pricing more than actual value or capability. The performance is adequate for city riding and shorter highway trips, though the 883 engine runs out of breath quickly when asked for aggressive acceleration or sustained high-speed cruising. Many owners eventually bore the engine out to 1,200 cubic centimeters or trade up to bigger models. That upgrade path contributes to the flood of used Iron 883 models available today. The handling is nimble for a cruiser with light steering and reasonable agility through corners. The suspension is basic but functional, handling typical road conditions without feeling harsh or overwhelmed. The Iron 883 gets called underpowered by people who apparently need to hit 100 miles per hour on their way to get groceries. The brakes are adequate with reasonable stopping power for the bike's weight and performance. Fuel economy is good, typically exceeding 50 miles per gallon in mixed riding. The small tank size limits overall range, but fill-ups are quick and inexpensive. The riding position is comfortable for varied body types, with the mid-mount controls accommodating different leg lengths reasonably well. The firm seat becomes uncomfortable on longer rides, but aftermarket options are readily available. The Iron 883 represents the perfect mix of attitude and affordability for riders who want Harley-Davidson heritage without spending full price for new models. The mechanical simplicity, proven reliability, and strong aftermarket support make it practical for long-term ownership. The current flood of used examples at bargain prices creates opportunities that won't last forever as market prices eventually stabilize. This is a motorcycle that delivers exactly what new riders need while looking good and carrying the Harley-Davidson name, all at prices that make financial sense even for budget-conscious buyers. Now let's examine a sportier variant that completely confused Harley's traditional customer base. Harley-Davidson Street Rod 750. Harley attempted to create a sportier, more aggressive version of the Street 750 and ended up confusing their traditional customer base entirely. The Street Rod 750 features higher revving engine tuning, improved suspension with better lean angles, and more aggressive styling than the standard street model. The engine redline is raised significantly, allowing riders to explore higher RPM ranges that feel completely un-Harley-like. The exhaust note at high revs is more aggressive and urgent than typical Harley rumble. The power delivery prioritizes mid-range and top-end performance over low-end torque, making it feel more like a sport bike than a cruiser. The suspension receives significant upgrades with better components and geometry optimized for cornering rather than straight-line cruising. The bike leans farther before hard parts scrape, allowing more aggressive cornering than typical Harley products. The chassis feels stiffer and more responsive with sharper steering that rewards active riding. The riding position is more forward-leaning with higher mounted foot pegs and lower handlebars. This aggressive posture works well for spirited riding, but becomes uncomfortable on longer cruises. The seat is firm and narrow, clearly designed for performance over comfort. The Street Rod was built specifically for city fun and twisty back roads, targeting younger riders who wanted Harley branding without traditional cruiser limitations. That mission succeeded mechanically, but failed commercially, because Harley's traditional customer base didn't understand the bike's purpose, while younger sport bike riders didn't want a Harley. Sales flopped spectacularly, leaving dealers stuck with inventory and early adopters watching their resale values crater. That market failure creates today's bargain pricing, where street rod models sell for shockingly low prices considering their capabilities. Riders who actually own street rod models swear by them, claiming they're hidden gems that deliver more fun per dollar than most motorcycles. The combination of adequate power, good handling, and practical ergonomics creates an engaging riding experience that's rare in Harley's lineup. The bike excels in urban environments where agility matters more than straight-line speed. Twisty back roads reveal the chassis capabilities with confident handling that encourages spirited riding. The brakes are adequate with dual front discs providing reasonable stopping power. The suspension handles aggressive riding without feeling harsh or overwhelmed. The liquid-cooled engine runs smoothly and reliably with minimal maintenance drama. The fuel economy is excellent, often exceeding 55 miles per gallon in spirited riding. The build quality is solid, with good paint and reasonable fit and finish. The instrument cluster is simple but provides necessary information clearly. The storage is minimal, but the bike isn't designed for touring anyway. The aftermarket support is limited compared to popular Sportster models, though basic accessories and parts are available through Harley dealers. The Street Rod 750 represents everything Harley-Davidson could become if they prioritize performance and handling over image and tradition. The fact that traditional Harley buyers rejected it completely means you can buy one now at prices that seem ridiculous for the capability delivered. This is a motorcycle that does things Harleys typically don't do, which makes it either pointless or brilliant depending on your perspective. For riders who want Harley branding with sport bike agility at bargain prices, the Street Rod delivers exactly that unique combination. The market never understood this bike, which is precisely why it represents such compelling value today for riders who actually understand what it offers. Let's shift gears to a classic Dyna model that got lost in the shuffle. Harley-Davidson Dyna Superglide. The Dyna Superglide occupied the middle ground in Harley's lineup, bridging classic Harley design with modern comfort and capability. This bike features the strong twin-cam engine that delivers solid power and torque across the rev range. The twin-cam is known for its reliability when properly maintained, with many examples running well over 100,000 miles without major mechanical issues. The engine produces that satisfying Harley rumble with adequate vibration to feel authentic without shaking you apart. The power delivery is smooth and predictable, with strong mid-range torque for confident passing and relaxed cruising. The Dyna frame design provides better handling than softail models while maintaining classic Harley styling and presence. The rubber-mounted engine reduces vibration transmitted to the rider while preserving enough character to feel like a proper Harley. The suspension front and rear is basic but functional, handling typical road conditions without feeling harsh. The riding position is comfortable with mid-mount controls that accommodate varied rider sizes. The seat is reasonably comfortable for medium-distance rides, though serious touring requires aftermarket upgrades. The Superglide got systematically overshadowed by flashier Dyna variants like the Fat Bob and Street Bob. Those models grabbed attention with more aggressive styling and marketing, while the Superglide quietly delivered solid all-around capability. That market perception drives today's pricing, where Superglide models sell for noticeably less than equivalent Fat Bob or Street Bob bikes, despite sharing fundamental architecture. The mechanical differences are minor, but market perception creates significant price gaps that benefit smart buyers. Used Superglide prices hover surprisingly low, considering the bike's capabilities and Harley heritage. You're getting a proven twin-cam engine, solid Dyna chassis, and classic Harley styling at prices that make financial sense even for budget-conscious buyers. Many available examples have low to moderate mileage because owners upgraded to bigger touring models or moved to different brands. The Superglide works well as a daily rider, weekend cruiser, or light touring machine. The versatility makes it practical for varied riding needs without requiring a garage full of specialized bikes. The handling is competent for a big cruiser with predictable steering and reasonable agility through corners. The Super Glide isn't a sport bike, obviously, but it navigates twisty roads better than most cruisers. The brakes provide adequate stopping power with reasonable feel at the lever. The fuel economy is decent for a big twin, typically achieving 40 to 45 miles per gallon in mixed riding. The fuel tank size allows reasonable range between fill-ups. The storage is limited to what you can strap on or fit in saddlebags, but the bike accommodates luggage reasonably well. Maintenance on the twin-cam engine is straightforward with well-understood procedures that most mechanics can handle. Parts availability is excellent through Harley dealers and aftermarket suppliers. The mechanical simplicity means repairs are typically less expensive than newer models with more complex systems. Insurance and registration costs are moderate, reflecting the bike's performance level and displacement. The aftermarket parts selection is extensive, allowing easy customization and personalization. The Super Glide represents practical Harley ownership without pretension or unnecessary complication. The fact that it got overshadowed by flashier models means you can buy one now at prices that represent genuine value for the capability delivered. Next up, we have a Sportster variant that combined classic looks with practical features. Harley-Davidson Sportster 1200 Custom. The Sportster 1200 Custom blended classic Harley styling with enough chrome sparkle to satisfy traditional enthusiasts while delivering practical, everyday capability. This bike features the 1200 cubic centimeter Evolution engine that provides significantly more power than 883 models. The additional displacement makes a real difference in highway capability and passing performance. The Evolution engine remains air-cooled and simple, delivering reliable performance with straightforward maintenance requirements. That extra displacement means more torque everywhere in the rev range, making the bike feel more capable and less strained during aggressive riding or two-up cruising. The custom styling includes chrome accents on the engine, wheels, and body components without going overboard into full dresser territory. The look is classic Harley without being dated or overly retro. The mid-mount controls position your feet directly below you in a comfortable neutral stance that works well for varied riding styles. That control position is surprisingly comfortable for taller riders who often struggle with forward controls on other cruisers. The seat is reasonably plush with adequate support for medium-distance rides. The riding position is upright and relaxed, reducing fatigue on longer days. The 1200 Custom got labeled as not flashy enough by enthusiasts chasing more aggressive styling or higher performance. That market perception keeps used prices moderate, despite the bike's genuine capabilities and practicality. You're getting a proven 1200 engine, comfortable ergonomics, and classic styling at prices well below flashier Sportster variants. The mechanical fundamentals are solid, with the Evolution engine delivering reliable performance year after year. Many available used examples have moderate mileage and good maintenance records because original owners took care of them properly. The engine delivers smooth power with enough character to feel authentically Harley without excessive vibration or harshness. The transmission shifts cleanly without the clunky engagement that plagues some Harley gearboxes. The clutch pull is manageable for stop-and-go traffic without causing excessive hand fatigue. The handling is typical Sportster with light steering and adequate agility for a cruiser. The suspension handles normal road conditions competently without feeling harsh or underdamped. The brakes provide reasonable stopping power with adequate feel at the lever. The fuel economy is decent for a 1200, typically achieving 45 to 50 miles per gallon in mixed riding. The fuel tank size allows reasonable range between fill-ups without being excessively large or heavy. The storage is limited to what you can strap on or fit in saddlebags. but the bike accommodates luggage reasonably well for weekend trips. The instrument cluster is simple with analog gauges providing necessary information clearly. The build quality is solid, with good paint and chrome that holds up well over time. The maintenance requirements are straightforward, with the air-cooled Evolution engine requiring basic service at regular intervals. The 1200 Custom represents dependable Harley ownership without drama or excessive costs. It's the workhorse of Harley's garage, reliably doing its job year after year without complaint. The fact that it's not flashy or particularly exciting keeps used prices reasonable for buyers who prioritize substance over style. This is a motorcycle that grows on you over time as you appreciate its reliability, comfort, and practical everyday capability. The 1200 Custom proves that boring can be good when boring means dependable, comfortable, and affordable. Now let's look at the sportiest Sportster Harley ever built. Harley-Davidson Roadster 1200. Harley took the Sportster platform and created the sportiest version ever built with the Roadster 1200. This bike features short gearing that prioritizes quick acceleration over relaxed cruising. The engine winds out quickly through the gears, encouraging active shifting and spirited riding. The twin front disc brakes provide significantly better stopping power than single-disc Sportsters. The braking feel is good with strong, progressive stopping that inspires confidence. The suspension is firmer than typical Sportsters, tuned for handling rather than straight-line comfort. The bike corners with confidence and encourages leaning farther than most Harleys allow. The styling is inspired by cafe racers with minimal bodywork, blacked-out components, and aggressive proportions. The seat is firm and narrow, clearly designed for performance over comfort. The handlebars are low and wide, putting you in a forward-leaning posture that works for aggressive riding. The foot pegs are mid-mounted and slightly rear-set, allowing good ground clearance through corners. The overall aesthetic is stripped down and purposeful, without unnecessary chrome or decoration. The bike looks fast sitting still, which is exactly the intention. The Roadster 1200 is basically a muscle car that never got invited to the car show because it showed up wearing the wrong outfit. The problem is that Harley fans didn't know what to do with a sporty Sportster. Traditional cruiser riders wanted comfort and low-end torque, not aggressive ergonomics and quick steering. Sport bike riders weren't interested in Harley products regardless of performance capabilities. The Roadster fell between market segments, appealing to neither group effectively. Sales flopped, leaving dealers with inventory and early adopters watching resale values crater. The used market now offers Roadster 1,200 models at bargain prices that seem ridiculous for the performance delivered. You're getting a modern motorcycle with capable handling, good brakes, and adequate power at prices comparable to much older or less capable bikes. The mechanical fundamentals are solid with the proven 1200 Evolution engine and robust Sportster chassis. The short gearing makes city riding entertaining with quick acceleration away from stoplights. The firm suspension and good ground clearance allow aggressive cornering that's rare among Harleys. The handling is genuinely impressive for a Harley product. The Roadster steers quickly and holds lines through corners confidently. The suspension communicates road conditions clearly without feeling harsh. The brakes provide strong stopping power with excellent feel and control. The engine delivers smooth power with that distinctive Harley V-twin character. The fuel economy is decent, typically achieving 45 to 50 miles per gallon in spirited riding. The build quality is solid with good paint and components that hold up well. The Roadster 1200 appeals to a specific type of rider who wants Harley heritage with sport bike agility. If you're that rider, this bike delivers exactly what you're looking for at prices that represent genuine bargains. The market never understood the Roadster's mission, which created today's pricing opportunities for riders who actually appreciate what it offers. This is a motorcycle that does things Harleys traditionally don't do, making it either pointless or brilliant depending on your riding preferences and priorities. Let's look back at a legend from the 1980s that's still revered by those who understand. Harley-Davidson FXR. The FXR represents one of Harley's most interesting chapters, a motorcycle built in the 1980s with frame geometry and handling characteristics that riders still praise decades later. The frame design achieved a level of balance and handling capability that Harley has struggled to match in subsequent models. The rubber-mounted engine isolated vibration effectively while maintaining enough connection to feel authentically Harley. The suspension geometry and weight distribution created handling that felt more Japanese than American, which confused and offended purists at the time. Traditional Harley enthusiasts rejected the FXR as too Japanese-feeling, too refined, too competent in corners. That market rejection during the FXR's production run created today's cult following among riders and custom builders who recognize the frame's inherent capabilities. Custom builders actively hunt for FXR frames because they provide an excellent foundation for building high-performance Harleys. The frame handles power upgrades, suspension improvements, and aggressive riding without the limitations that plague other Harley platforms. The geometry is simply right in ways that are difficult to articulate but immediately obvious when riding. The bike steers naturally, holds lines through corners confidently, and maintains composure over rough pavement. Original FXR models from the 1980s are becoming increasingly collectible as riders recognize their unique position in Harley's history. Clean, unmolested examples command premium prices from collectors and enthusiasts. Modified examples are more common and more affordable, often featuring engine upgrades, suspension improvements, and custom styling. The mechanical fundamentals remain solid, with the Evolution engine providing reliable performance when properly maintained. Parts availability can be challenging for some specific components, but the mechanical simplicity means many items are interchangeable with other Harley models. The riding experience blends old-school Harley character with actual ride comfort and handling capability. The rubber-mounted engine reduces vibration transmitted to the rider while preserving enough rumble to feel authentic. The suspension soaks up road imperfections without feeling sloppy or disconnected. The handling is genuinely good, with predictable steering and confident cornering. The brakes are adequate by 1980s standards, though most owners upgrade to modern components for better stopping power. The riding position is comfortable with mid-mount controls that accommodate varied body types. The FXR represents a rare blend of classic Harley design with genuine riding capability that the company struggled to replicate in later models. The fact that purists rejected it during production means fewer were built and sold compared to more traditional models. That relative scarcity combined with growing recognition of the platform's capabilities drives increasing values for clean examples. This is a motorcycle that was ahead of its time, offering capabilities that riders wanted, but the market wasn't ready to accept. The FXR proves that Harley can build competent handling motorcycles when they choose to prioritize performance over tradition and image. Finally, let's examine an early 2000s Dyna that delivered smooth riding at accessible prices. Harley-Davidson Dyna Low Rider, early 2000s. The Dyna Low Rider from the early 2000s offered smooth riding characteristics and classic proportions at reasonable prices. This bike features the twin-cam 88 engine that delivers satisfying rumble without excessive vibration. The twin-cam 88 is known for solid reliability when properly maintained, with many examples exceeding 80,000 miles without major mechanical issues. The power delivery is smooth and predictable with strong low-end and mid-range torque. The engine pulls cleanly from low revs and keeps pulling through the power band without dramatic peaks or valleys. The Dyna frame with rubber-mounted engine reduces vibration transmitted to the rider significantly compared to rigid mount Softails. You get enough vibration to feel authentically Harley without the excessive shaking that causes numbness and fatigue on long rides. The suspension front and rear handles typical road conditions competently without feeling harsh. The riding position is classic cruiser with slightly forward positioned controls. The seat is reasonably comfortable for medium distances, though serious touring benefits from aftermarket upgrades. The overall ergonomics work well for average-sized riders. The Low Rider got systematically overshadowed by flashier Dyna variants like the Fat Bob, which grabbed more attention with aggressive styling and marketing. That market dynamic keeps Low Rider prices moderate, despite the bike's solid capabilities and comfortable riding characteristics. A well-maintained Low Rider from the early 2000s can be found for a fraction of what newer Softail models cost. You're getting proven twin-cam 88 performance, comfortable Dyna chassis, and classic styling at prices that represent genuine value. The handling is typical Dyna, with good stability and adequate agility for a big cruiser. The bike navigates corners competently and feels planted at highway speeds. The brakes provide reasonable stopping power for the era, though modern standards would consider them merely adequate. The fuel economy is decent for a big twin, typically achieving 40 to 45 miles per gallon in mixed riding. The fuel tank size allows reasonable range between fill-ups. The storage is limited to saddlebags and luggage racks, but the bike accommodates touring gear reasonably well. Maintenance on the twin-cam 88 is straightforward, with well-understood procedures and excellent parts availability. Many mechanics are familiar with the engine, making service accessible and affordable. The mechanical simplicity means fewer potential failure points compared to newer models with more complex systems. Insurance costs are moderate, reflecting the bike's age and performance level. The aftermarket parts selection remains extensive, allowing easy customization and personalization. The Low Rider represents practical classic Harley ownership without excessive costs or complications. Well-kept examples deliver reliable transportation wrapped in traditional Harley styling at prices that make financial sense for budget-conscious riders. Harley-Davidson Buell Blast. The Buell Blast occupies a strange position in Harley-Davidson's history as a lightweight single-cylinder motorcycle built under the Buell brand that Harley owned. This bike was designed specifically for new riders and motorcycle training schools, prioritizing simplicity and ease of operation over performance or image. The single-cylinder engine produces modest power but delivers it smoothly and predictably. The displacement is small at just 492 cubic centimeters, making it manageable for beginners learning throttle control and clutch work. The engine is air-cooled and mechanically simple with minimal electronics or complexity to cause problems. The Buell Blast got mocked for being un-Harley by people who apparently never realized that not everyone needs 1,200 cubic centimeters to ride to the grocery store. The lightweight construction makes the bike easy to handle at low speeds and simple to pick up if dropped. The seat height is accessible for shorter riders, and the overall ergonomics work well for varied body types. The riding position is upright and comfortable with controls that fall naturally to hand. The brakes are adequate with reasonable stopping power for the bike's weight and performance level. The market rejected the Buell Blast as being too far removed from traditional Harley products. Enthusiasts wanted V-twin rumble and chrome, not a utilitarian single-cylinder trainer. That rejection created today's pricing, where clean Buell Blast models sell for under $3,000, sometimes significantly less. You're getting a Harley-powered motorcycle with dealer network support at prices lower than most used scooters. Buell Blast owners spent more time explaining why their Harley only has one cylinder than they did actually riding, which says more about Harley culture than the bike itself. The fuel economy is exceptional, often exceeding 70 miles per gallon in mixed riding. That efficiency makes it incredibly cheap to operate with minimal fuel costs. The maintenance requirements are minimal, with the simple single-cylinder engine requiring basic oil changes and valve adjustments. Parts availability through Harley dealers means service and repairs are accessible, even though the bike is no longer in production. The performance is adequate for city riding and light highway use, though the small engine runs out of breath quickly at higher speeds. The bike excels in urban environments where agility and fuel economy matter more than raw power. The handling is nimble with light steering and easy maneuverability in traffic. The Buell Blast makes an excellent first motorcycle or city commuter for riders who prioritize practicality over image. The Buell Blast represents the cheapest entry into Harley-powered motorcycling available anywhere. The prices are so low that buying one involves minimal financial risk, even if you decide motorcycling isn't for you. The reliability and simplicity mean the bike will likely run for years with minimal maintenance. For riders who need basic transportation or a learner bike that won't break the bank, the Buell Blast delivers exactly what's needed at prices that make perfect sense. Now let's look at another Sportster variant designed for accessibility. Harley-Davidson XLH883 Hugger. The XLH883 Hugger was specifically engineered for smaller riders who wanted Sportster performance with easier reach and better balance at stops. The low seat height allows shorter riders to plant both feet firmly on the ground, providing confidence that taller bikes cannot match. That confidence at stoplights and in parking lots makes a significant difference for riders who struggle with standard seat heights. The suspension is calibrated to maintain the lower ride height while still providing reasonable comfort and handling. The 883 cubic centimeter Evolution engine provides the same reliable performance that's powered countless Sportsters over decades. That air-cooled V-twin is mechanically simple, with proven durability and straightforward maintenance requirements. The power delivery is smooth and predictable, with adequate torque for city riding and light highway use. The engine rumbles with that distinctive Harley sound, without excessive vibration or harshness. The classic Evolution engine uses minimal electronics, meaning fewer potential failure points and simpler troubleshooting when problems arise. The Hugger got systematically overlooked in the marketplace because enthusiasts chased bigger 1200 models with more power and presence. That market dynamic keeps Hugger prices surprisingly low, despite the bike's practical advantages for many riders. You're getting the same proven 883 engine and Sportster chassis in a package optimized for accessibility at prices well below standard Sportster models. Clean Hugger examples sell for thousands less than equivalent Iron 883 or other Sportster variants despite being mechanically similar. The handling is typical Sportster with light steering and adequate agility for a cruiser. The lower center of gravity from the reduced seat height actually improves handling characteristics slightly compared to taller Sportsters. The bike navigates corners competently and feels stable at highway speeds. The brakes provide reasonable stopping power with adequate feel at the lever. The fuel economy is excellent, typically exceeding 50 miles per gallon in mixed riding conditions. Maintenance on the Evolution engine is straightforward with simple air-cooled architecture that mechanics have understood for decades. Oil changes are easy, valve adjustments are infrequent, and parts are readily available through Harley dealers and aftermarket suppliers. The mechanical simplicity means repair costs are typically reasonable when something does need attention. Insurance and registration costs are moderate, reflecting the bike's displacement and performance level. The XLH883 Hugger represents one of those motorcycles that grows on you over time as you appreciate its practical advantages and reliable performance. The lower seat height and accessible ergonomics make it ideal for riders who need confidence at stops. The proven 883 engine delivers adequate performance for most riding situations. The fact that the market overlooked it in favor of flashier models means you can buy one now at prices that represent genuine bargains. Let's move on to a modern Softail that confused buyers with its flexibility. Harley-Davidson Sport Glide. Harley designed the Sport Glide as a flexible motorcycle that could transform from stripped-down cruiser to touring machine depending on needs. The detachable saddlebags and removable fairing allow riders to configure the bike for different riding situations. Leave the bags and fairing at home for casual weekend rides. Install them for longer trips requiring luggage and wind protection. That flexibility sounds brilliant on paper, but confused buyers who wanted bikes with clear identities and purposes. The modern Softail frame provides the classic hardtail look while actually incorporating hidden rear suspension. That design delivers better ride quality than true hardtails while maintaining the visual aesthetic that Harley enthusiasts prefer. The Milwaukee 8 engine provides strong power and torque with the refinement of Harley's latest power plant generation. The engine runs smoother than previous generations with improved cooling and reduced vibration. The transmission shifts cleanly, and the overall drivetrain feels refined and well-sorted. The Sport Glide's not loud and not aggressive character turned off buyers who wanted maximum presence and attention. Harley's traditional customer base often prioritizes image and sound over practical versatility. The Sport Glide is comparatively quiet and understated, which works against it in a market that values loud exhausts and aggressive styling. That market rejection keeps resale prices surprisingly low for a modern Softail with current technology and refinement. The riding experience is comfortable and refined with good wind protection when the fairing is installed. The detachable bags provide adequate storage for weekend trips without the bulk of permanent hard bags. The handling is typical Softail with stable highway cruising and adequate agility through corners. The suspension soaks up road imperfections reasonably well without feeling harsh. The brakes provide good stopping power with modern ABS, adding safety in emergency situations. The Sport Glide essentially functions as two motorcycles in one, a strip cruiser for casual riding and a light tourer for longer trips. That versatility makes it practical for riders who want one bike capable of handling varied situations. The detachable components are well designed with secure mounting systems that don't require tools or extensive time. The Milwaukee 8 engine delivers reliable performance with modern refinement. The Sport Glide represents practical Harley ownership for riders who value versatility over image. The flexibility to configure the bike for different needs makes it more useful than single-purpose motorcycles. The fact that resale prices haven't caught up to the bike's actual value creates opportunities for smart buyers. This is a motorcycle that does things other Harleys can't do while maintaining the fundamental character that makes Harleys distinctive. Time to examine a minimalist Harley that embodies pure attitude. A Harley-Davidson Street Bob used models. The Street Bob represents Harley's minimalist philosophy distilled to its essence, a bare-bones motorcycle with maximum attitude and minimal fluff. Everything unnecessary has been stripped away, leaving just engine, frame, wheels, and rider. The design is deliberately raw and unfinished with blacked-out components and minimal chrome. The peanut fuel tank is small. The seat is solo-style and firm. The handlebars are simple and functional. The Street Bob is so minimalist, some owners joke it came from the factory, with parts already removed to save them the trouble. The lightweight frame and stripped-down construction make this one of the most nimble Harleys available. The bike handles with surprising agility for a cruiser, steering quickly and holding lines through corners confidently. The reduced weight makes low-speed maneuvering easy and parking lot navigation simple. The riding experience feels direct and connected without layers of comfort features insulating you from the machine. The various generations of Street Bob share this minimalist philosophy while incorporating different engines and frames depending on model year. Earlier, Dyna-based Street Bobs feature the twin-cam engine and rubber-mounted design. Later, Softail-based models use the Milwaukee 8 engine with hidden rear suspension. All versions prioritize the stripped-down aesthetic and engaging riding experience. Used prices remain surprisingly low across all generations because the simplicity suggests lower value to buyers who equate features with worth. Street Bob riders apparently believe that comfort is for people who don't really love motorcycling, which explains why the seat feels like sitting on a park bench covered in leather. The performance varies by generation, but all Street Bob models deliver adequate power for spirited riding. The handling remains the constant strength across all versions with nimble steering and confident cornering. The brakes provide reasonable stopping power, though earlier models benefit from upgrades to modern components. The Street Bob appeals to riders who want pure motorcycling experience without compromise or convenience. This bike makes every ride feel like a personal rebellion against practicality and comfort. The minimalist design means less maintenance and fewer potential failure points. The aftermarket parts selection is massive, with countless options for customization and personalization. Many used Street Bob models already have modifications installed, meaning you get upgraded parts at used bike prices. The fuel economy is decent for the engine size, typically achieving 40 to 45 miles per gallon, depending on riding style. The small fuel tank limits range between fill-ups, but refueling is quick and inexpensive. The Street Bob represents Harley ownership stripped to essential elements, proving that simplicity has its own appeal and value. Used prices that stay low because of perceived lack of features actually create opportunities for riders who appreciate the minimalist philosophy and engaging riding experience this bike delivers. Finally, let's discuss one of Harley's boldest and most controversial machines: Harley-Davidson V-Rod. The V-Rod represented one of Harley-Davidson's boldest moves, a radical departure from traditional air-cooled V-twin cruisers. Harley partnered with Porsche to develop a liquid-cooled V-twin engine that produced significantly more power than traditional Harley power plants. The Revolution engine features double overhead cams and 4 valves per cylinder, technology that seemed almost sacrilegious to traditional Harley enthusiasts. The engine produces smooth power across the entire rev range, with a willingness to rev that feels completely un-Harley-like. The styling was equally radical, with aggressive angles, minimal chrome, and modern proportions that looked nothing like traditional Harleys. The fuel tank is actually located under the seat with a false tank cover hiding the airbox. The engine is prominently displayed and becomes the visual centerpiece of the bike. Traditional Harley enthusiasts hated the V-Rod immediately, calling it too Japanese, too modern, too different from what Harley should be. The V-Rod was too futuristic for die-hard Harley fans when it launched, which is ironic because those same fans now complain that Harley never innovates or takes risks. Sales lagged throughout the V-Rod's production run as traditional buyers rejected it, while sport bike riders never seriously considered Harley products regardless of performance. Harley eventually discontinued the V-Rod line after years of disappointing sales. That commercial failure created today's bargain pricing, where clean V-Rod models sell for shockingly low prices considering their performance capabilities and build quality. The riding experience is unlike any other Harley, with smooth power, refined handling, and modern performance. The engine revs freely and produces strong acceleration that embarrasses many sport bikes. The handling is competent, with stable highway cruising and confident cornering. The brakes are powerful with good feel and stopping capability. The riding position is aggressive, with forward-positioned foot pegs and a slight forward lean. The build quality is excellent, with quality paint, materials, and fit and finish throughout. Some V-Rod owners claim their bikes are so fast and smooth. Other Harley riders refuse to believe they're actually Harleys until they see the badges. The V-Rod is becoming increasingly recognized as a future classic, a bold experiment that was ahead of its time. The Porsche-designed engine is bulletproof reliable, with many examples exceeding 50,000 miles without issues. Collectors are starting to recognize the V-Rod's unique position in Harley's history, and values are beginning to creep upward from their depreciation lows. The V-Rod represents a collector's bargain hiding in plain sight, a motorcycle that will likely appreciate in value as people recognize its significance and rarity. The performance capabilities are genuine, with smooth power and competent handling. The fact that traditional Harley buyers rejected it completely means you can still buy clean examples at prices that seem ridiculous for what you're getting. This is a motorcycle that proves Harley can build modern high-performance machines when they choose to, even if the market wasn't ready to accept it at the time. These 15 Harley-Davidson motorcycles remind us that popularity doesn't always equal quality. Each of them had something to offer: strong engines, solid builds, and the unmistakable Harley feel. But for one reason or another, riders just overlooked them. Years later, these same bikes stand out as smart buys for those who ride for the experience, not the hype. They prove that you don't need to spend a fortune to get that authentic rumble, that open-road freedom, or that timeless look. In the end, the best Harleys aren't always the ones sitting under showroom lights. They're the ones quietly waiting in garages, still ready to roar.